Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Stacy Varghese, and I'm the Director of Leadership Annual Giving and Engagement at St. John's University. Today, we have first Priscilla Loomis, who will talk to us about her Olympic journey. If you have a question, please submit it on the bottom right in the chat section, and they will be answered at the end of the presentation. Lastly, a recording of today's session will be uploaded on the St. John's University's Alumni Professional Development page. Now I'm excited to introduce our speaker. Priscilla Loomis is a motivational speaker and former professional track and field athlete. She received a full athletic scholarship to St. John's University, is an Olympian, two-time Hall of Fame inductee, entrepreneur, health and wellness advocate, content creator, and world traveler, with features in the New York Times, CNN, and National Geographic. Priscilla is a public figure with 10 plus years of experience in athletics and motivational speaking. Welcome, Priscilla. I will hand the webinar over to you now.
Thank you so much, Stacy. I appreciate it. That was such a great intro. And I have to say, I actually just got inducted into the St. John's Hall of Fame. So that was really incredible. And I was very blessed to get that kind of honor. But thank you so much for having me. I'm actually traveling right now. I'm in Miami at Art Basel, which is my first time, so I'm super excited. But I'm very excited to be here with everyone today. Thank you for your time. Thank you for giving me your energy and the space in your life. I started this journey when I was 6 years old. And I knew that I wanted to be in entertainment. I knew that I wanted to be, a powerhouse. And my dream was always to be either Beyonce or Selena. And because I loved that they were women that commanded a stage, they commanded presence, and we were always in awe of them. And what they left behind was feelings of empowerment and self-love. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that I was leaving behind this legacy of greatness. And so I started running track when I was 6 years old, and moving forward, I've gone through so many different avenues, and I've gone through so many different struggles, and I've gone through so many successes. And I wanted to make sure that I told my story the way I wanted to, and letting nobody else take the reins in my own story. And so I thank you and St. John's alum for having me. I want to take this next, 20 minutes to really just let you know what's going on. And I understand that a lot of you might be parents with athletes at home. Some of you might be athletes yourself. And so I've come, a full 360 in being a young athlete, going to high school and being an athlete, going to college and being an athlete, turning pro on my own. I have dual citizenship, so I represented a different country, going to the Olympic Games, and then retiring and focusing on shifting that mindset and, growing through everything that I've learned. So as Stacy said, I am an Olympian. I went to the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio. Oh man, this is what she said. There we go. Stacy was like, it may not work, but we're doing good. So far, so good. So yes, I started my own company last year, and it's Priscilla Loomis LLC. And now I just speak on the Olympic mindset and having people find power in their purpose and quitting toxic environments, leadership development, women empowerment. Of course, we got to get these girls out here thriving. And so this is a little bit of my accolades, but this really isn't about me. I say this all the time in every single one of my presentations. This is really about my story triggering something positive into your life and being a positive nugget in your foundation, being a resource in your toolbox. My story can go on forever. I can talk about my story forever, but it's really about how my story can help you achieve your power and find your purpose and your children's purpose. Because what's happening right now is a lot of parents are very disengaged with their children and where their mindset is. And a lot of athletes and people in general are suffering from severe anxiety and uncertainty. And so for me, I want to make sure that I am giving you real actionable tips and real, I guess, resources to help you in your everyday life, because that's what it is. It's every single day. I include this in all of my presentations because a lot of people are like, are you the pole vaulter? Is that the one with the pole? No, I don't do the pole vault. I am a high jumper. I went to the Olympics for high jumping. This was me actually competing at the Olympics. Yay. Thank God the bar stayed. It weebled and wobbled, but did not fall down. So this is a very quick recap of my journey so that we can feel a little bit more comfortable with each other and you guys know a little bit about me. So I started running at 6 years old. I was raised by a single mother in Queens, New York, raised up Queens. And after a certain point, my mother couldn't raise my sister and I by herself in the city. So she moved us to South Jersey. And during that time, I wanted, like I said, to be Beyonce. I was inspired by Selena. So I got into modeling and acting and pageants. And every step of the way, I was told that I was overweight. I had a fat face. I photographed that. And so my mom was like, okay, time to shift focus. I don't want that to be your narrative. So I went to Catholic school all of my life. My mom worked 2 to 3 jobs to make that possible. I went to Paul VI High School where I got involved in drama. And so I did track and field and drama. And I loved it. I loved the stage. So my goal was to move to St. John's, move to New York City, become an actress, and make it big, and all my problems would be over. But as you guys know, that doesn't always happen that way. And so my story went a little bit differently. So I received a full scholarship to St. John's University after being told that I wasn't good enough to get a full ride to any college from my guidance counselor in high school. So it was a beautiful testament in that moment for myself to say, even though there are leaders out there that are supposed to be guiding me and helping me, sometimes they just don't have that same vision. Sometimes they don't have that same focus or lens. And so with as much respect as I possibly could, I told my guidance counselor, like, look, that's not my journey. What do I need to do? I need to get a full ride. I don't have $180,000 in my bank account for tuition. Let me know what I need to do, boo boo. So he told me that, my athletic and my academic options. And so I really went all in on athletics. And it was the best decision I ever made because I didn't want my mom to have to take out a loan or anything for college because, again, she was a single parent. So I worked my butt off. And that following weekend, after my guidance counselor told me that I wasn't able to do what I needed to do, I set the school record and I set the county record and became a county champ, went on to become a state champ, and then went on to New Balance Nationals, which was Nike Nationals at the time, and placed top 4 in the country. And it was just a decision that I made. I realized that my mom couldn't afford the colleges that I would want to go to, especially in New York City. And I realized that I could either listen to that guidance counselor and that negative narrative, or I could decide for myself what I wanted and what I knew was true. So at Nike Nationals, I met Coach Jim Hurt, who was the coach at St. John's for many, many years. He recently retired and now is in the Hall of Fame at St. John's as well. And I went to St. John's University, and I do not regret it at all. I absolutely loved it. I had a great time. I went all 4 years, and I also went an extra year because I redshirted, and I went to the 2012 Olympic trials, US Olympic trials. I didn't make it, but it was something that I said, I had a great time. I was seeded 24 out of 24 and placed 7th. And I took that upon myself and said, you know what, I can definitely do this. So then in 2014, I got my dual citizenship for the country of Antigua and Barbuda, where my father was born, and started competing for Antigua and Barbuda. In that decision, I dealt with a lot of sexism. I dealt with a lot of racism and just a lot of shaming for being exactly who I was. And it was extremely difficult. And I went through a lot. And the biggest takeaway for me is how strong I am and how strong athletes are and what we've learned through our journeys and what we take with us. So during that time, I got a coach, and that was my wonderful coach at the bottom right there is Coach LSU, as I call him. His name is Rich Fisher. And we became a power duo, and he got me to where I needed to be, which was the 2016 Olympic Games. During that time, I went to the Pan American Games, was a silver medalist. Competed at the Commonwealth Games, where again I was told I was fat from some random person, and competed at the World Championships. From my own teammates told me that I was a little heavy. I pulled my hamstring at the Indoor World Championships about 6 months prior to the Olympics. Trained, healed, did whatever I needed to do. Finally made my first Olympic team. And it was probably one of the worst experiences of my life. It was amazing that I finally got this goal and I was able to accomplish it. But then to deal with my country and to deal with so much sexism and racism, it was really, really gut wrenching. So on the outside, I was super happy and I put on a happy face. But behind the scenes, I cried almost every day. Yeah, just because of what they were saying about me and how I was being treated. And then, of course, training at the Olympics and wanting to do well and putting the country on my shoulders. It was a lot. And so I learned a lot in those 2 weeks that I was out there about myself, about my friendship, and about my mindset. And so my coach went on to coach at a college. So I needed to move, and I found a new coach and started training for the 2020 Olympics. And as everybody knows, the 2020 Olympics got postponed. I did get married the year prior in Ireland, which was amazing. Won my first my first gold medal. And it was just a journey from there. And 2020 got postponed. In 2021, January, I got COVID, and I was doing fine, but it really did kick my butt. And unfortunately, due to heart complications, I was not allowed to compete at the 2021 Olympic Games. So I retired. So it's been a little over a year since I retired, and it's been amazing and very difficult. But the reason why I'm speaking with you now is this Olympic mindset. And what's happening now is a lot of athletes are putting so much pressure on themselves, and a lot of people at work are putting a lot of pressure on themselves. And for me, I realized that I needed to use my voice and my experience to let people know what they can do to alleviate some of that anxiety, that pressure, and kind of change their mindset and change that view. So I speak on the Olympic mindset as an everyday practice, everything that I did every single day to make my first Olympics. And just so you're aware, I competed in only like 4 to 5 meets after I was diagnosed with COVID, because I couldn't compete on my indoor season. So I only had a few weeks to get back into training and qualify, and I missed out by 4 spots. So it was really incredible to me that I was still top 36 in the world after missing an entire season and only competing a few times. So all of that to say is that athletes, and I call everybody who's not an athlete or not a professional athlete muggles. If you know Harry Potter, you know what I'm talking about. But just civilians, right? Regular people, working hard to make a living. And I take this Olympic mindset and I use it in my everyday life. So my biggest thing is about who you are and finding your purpose. And so when you truly invest in yourself and you commit to yourself and you commit to your goals and you stay committed each and every day, great things are going to happen. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to wake up with rainbows and sunshine and you're going to be singing a new show tune every day. No, it means that you're showing up for yourself. And so as athletes, we have to show up for ourselves every single day, because we are the most important person to our career. That means mind, that means body, that means spirit. So When we're investing in ourselves, we're taking time for ourselves. We're setting boundaries. We're telling people, this is what my goal is. And if you interfere with that, I cannot have you in my space. I cannot have you in my surroundings because you don't align with who I am and with where I'm trying to be. So things that we do as athletes and as Olympians is, again, we always talk about the courage and the dedication and the commitment and the patience and the pressure, as you can see. But what we don't talk about is what that actually looks like. And so I recently made a post on my Instagram, and you guys can all follow me and ask me questions any time of day. I want to be a resource again, is what that actually looks like. And so when I was prepared and ready for meets, when I was prepared and ready for retirement, all I got was negative feedback from all different areas. And that could look like, you're heavy, we don't value you, you're not a big enough name. The ref could make a bad call, for other sports. Your parents could be putting a lot of pressure on you. Your competitors are putting a lot of pressure on you. Your competition in itself is negative, or putting out negative vibes. It could be people at work that are toxic. Everything is going, negativity looks different to everybody, but the only thing that you can control is what you can control, is how you react to it, is how you're putting that in. So if you're looking at commitment and your dedication each and every single day in investing in yourself, these negative comments and these little naysayers, they start not to really matter to you or your mindset, because they're not really important. They have no weight because of where you're coming from. Your foundation is so strong that these little naysayers and these little negativities don't really matter, because they don't hold any weight. Because you can only control what you can control. You can't control what the ref is going to say. You can't control what your teammates are going to say. You can't control what your competition's saying. You can't control what your family's saying. You can't control your work environment. What you can control is you and how you're investing with in yourself. So as I move forward, I always said, what do I want? Now, a lot of you might be surprised to know that I never said I want to win an Olympic medal. That's not what I ever said. I said I want to compete at the Olympics, and I want to be bigger than life. I want to entertain people. I want young athletes at home to watch me and say, wow, you know what? I can do that, no matter what I look like, no matter where I come from. So identifying what you want. For me, after I retired, I wanted to make sure that I was a rising tide that lift all ships. So what that means is I wanted to be a symbol of empowerment, resilience, and courage. I wanted to be a badass warrior. I wanted to be a mentor and a positive role model that people could look at. Now, that doesn't mean I'm perfect in any way, shape, or form. That means that I am doing my best and I'm showing up for myself and for others every single day. That's what I identify. So if you're not identifying exactly what you want, you can't make an actionable plan to make things better, right? To make yourself happy, to reach those goals. If you're not investing in yourself, when you invest in yourself, that means you identified what you wanted and you're getting all the resources to make that happen. And that is a daily actionable habit. You must invest in yourself, whether that look like, for right now, for me as an entrepreneur, I'm learning everything as an entrepreneur. I'm learning the motivational speaking side of it. How can I accentuate and speak better? How do I manage money? How am I going to build the business? How do I reach a different audience? How do I take constructive criticism? I'm looking at it from all aspects, and I'm constantly investing in myself. I have water. I hate water, guys. Always have, probably always will. So for me, it's just important for me to take small steps to always better myself and invest in myself. And I always say commitment and patience, and people are like, yeah, I'm committed. No, athletes don't just show up to practice being like, okay, it is what it is, we'll see what happens. No, we show up to practice 6 days a week, sometimes 2 times a week, sometimes 2 days sometimes 2 times in a day. Sorry, I had an early flight. It's been a day. So but you have to make sure that you're showing up every single day in some way, shape, or form, right? So I worked out 6 days a week. I had training anywhere between 4 to 6 hours a day. right? Now, it was planned. I had to make sure that I was getting the right nutrition. I was taking actionable steps. I was listening to the coach. And the biggest thing that people forget is that I failed. I failed a lot. So every time I competed, the bar always fell down. I was competing to get this much better. Between this little bit, I'll show you guys that much, that was between first place and last place. That was between number 5 in the world or number 40 in the world, by that much. So for me, I needed to stay consistent. I needed to stay committed and work on getting better. And that included acknowledging my failures, because it's not always going to be days where I woke up and I was like, this is the best day ever. Some days are really, really difficult. And it's about pushing through and showing up for yourself each and every day. Now, I talk about training and the 10,000 hour rule. And it's really, I use this 10,000 hour rule for athletes, especially because the 10,000 hour rule is, for those of you who don't know, is that when you practice something for 10,000 hours, you kind of become a professional at it. You know it inside and out. But what it also says to me is that, are you willing to fail 10,000 times in order to get that win on 10,001? I use a Danny DeVito quote also because he went on hundreds of auditions and got no's all the way until he got that yes. You have to keep going until you get that yes. And so when I talk about quitting toxic environments, it's about, I'm not saying that you should quit right away, but at a certain point, if it's not serving you, if it's not making you better, and if it's literally hurting the person that you are, it's time to let go, because there's something better on the other side. I talk about weight room. Everyone forgets that when athletes go to weight room, we literally pile on more weight and we're consistently challenging ourselves. So when you go and show up to work, it's not always going to be the best situation. When you show up to the meet, it's not always going to be the best situation. When you show up for yourself, it's not always going to be the best situation, but it's making you stronger. It's getting that mindset better. It's getting you better. It's allowing you to get stronger in every single facet of life. And that, again, comes with consistency. It's showing up for you. And look, I am not a big negative person at all, but the worst thing I think that mankind did was make selfish a negative concept. I am extremely selfish because I cannot, in good conscience, go out and give 100% of myself without filling up my cup first, without making sure that I'm resting, without making sure I'm drinking water, without making sure that I'm doing personal development. Being selfish is not always a negative thing. Sometimes you have to focus on you and your intent and your purpose in order to be the best version of you. I talked about nutrition, and most people think it's about food. Nutrition is what's fueling you. That means your social media. That means your mindset. That means the people that are around you. That means the leaders that you're following, the mentors who you're asking. Nutrition is what you are consuming every single day. And people forget that what athletes consume is very much watched, very much thought about. Everything that we do is a plan. So when you are going after your goal and when you finally set that goal for yourself, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, you have to make sure that what you're consuming and who you're surrounding yourself with is adding to your fuel, is adding to this healthy nutrition. If you're on social media and all you see is negativity, how are you going to put out into the world positivity and being your best self? You have to unfollow, cut out, block, quit, whatever you need to do to get that negativity out of your life is what you need to do. When I say this to athletes all the time, you have to monitor what you watch, right? So people laugh at me all the time, but I love comedy. I love everything about cartoons. I love Christmas movie. Yes, I'm that Hallmark person. Like, that's just me. I am all about it. You will not find me watching a Jeffrey Dahmer movie before bed. Are y'all crazy? How am I supposed to survive in good conscience watching Jeffrey Dahmer before bed? And I can't. So for me, if that is your relaxation, 100%. But please make sure that what you're watching adds to you and benefiting you. Just because other people are watching it doesn't mean that it's the best. So for me in those rest periods, because rest is just as important as training, in your rest, do something that completely relaxes your mind, that adds to you. If you need to have a cocktail and watch some Netflix, then do so. Take that rest, because again, that's nutrition for you. Your nutrition are your cheat meals. Your nutrition is the positive mindset. Your nutrition is surrounding yourself with good people. Your nutrition is you being selfish for you to be 100%, to be the best you, to have the great mindset that you can go out and give the best to the world. So when you talk about the Olympic mindset as well, as I wrap up here, health and wellness is a big topic right now. But for me, and again, health and wellness includes that anxiety and that pressure. And so for athletes, we look at pressure as a privilege, right? Not everybody can go on the world stage and compete confidently and execute each time. But we also did everything possible beforehand that you didn't see in order to get to that stage, right? So no matter where you are, you have to know your worth. You have value, you have purpose, you are exactly where you need to be. Do not let anybody take away your worth or your value. And that's why I always say quit toxic environments when they are not adding to the best version of you, spiritually, mentally, and physically. Right? You've heard all of these things before. I know you've heard about, your words, and it is so important to show gratitude for each and every day. It's important to be in alignment. When you wake up in the morning, if you have a mindset of negativity and the world is after you, and you hate your job, and again, it's just going to spiral out of control. It's only going to get worse. You have to show gratitude and say, thank you for this and exactly where I am. I hope that I can just be an addition to somebody's life today. I am grateful that I woke up. I'm grateful where I am. I'm grateful that I am going to change somebody's life today. I am grateful for exactly who I am and the lessons that I'm learning. Because like it says at the end, healed people heal people. Light attracts light. It's that simple. When you start to become exactly what you're looking for, it's going to come to you. And the blessing about it is negative people don't want to be around you. Petty people don't want to be around you. Good. They're not for you, boo-boo. Not everyone is going to be for you. Not everyone is going to be on this journey with you. You have to understand that. And especially for the parents out there who have young children, who have children in high school and in college, not everyone is going to be for them. Right? You have to allow your children to understand, to be grateful, and to understand that their journey is theirs alone to make. And you are that example. You are setting that tone, right? So if you go into work thinking a negative mindset, oh, I hate dealing with talkative Susie. Susie's gonna be the first one that meets you at the door. Hey, right? So if you can just go in and be like, I am light, I am grateful that I have a job. I am excited for what this world is bringing to me. I am going to make a change for the betterment of me and those around me. Start to see how that goes. And that doesn't mean you have a little vision board in the corner. No, boo-boo. That means that you work and you are at it and you focus on it every single day, even when times get tough. I had to wake up at 3 o'clock today. I was not happy about it, but I woke up and I said, you know what? My makeup is gonna look fierce. I'm gonna have a cute outfit. I'm going to Miami. Even though I am exhausted, I'm going to exude confidence. I'm going to be everything that I want to be. I'm going to know my worth. Positive people are going to be attracted to me. And you know what? It's been working. I get to hang out with you guys and talk about the incredible Olympic mindset. Stacy and I had a phenomenal conversation. It just adds little by little. So when you do it consistently and you show gratitude consistently and you are your value and you put more passion and focus into your purpose, your foundation starts to build itself. And then all the little naysayers and all the negativity, it just starts to kind of whittle away because it doesn't have any power over you and it has no control. So this is who I am. Right? So I stand boldly, I walk confidently, and I live unapologetically. Find what your pillars are. Find what you want to stand on. Find things that you can really rely on every single day, right? Because it's really, really important that you set something up for yourself. Olympians have the Olympic rings, but for you, what are your Olympics? What is so important to you that you want to make sure that you give it everything, that you show up for yourself every day? What is going to keep you going, right? And it's not always going to be easy. There are going to be so many people. I went to guidance. I went to mentors. I went to other CEOs. I went to people that I really was trusting, and they literally told me that I wasn't good enough. They told me that my name didn't hold any weight, that I was not being sought after. Let me tell you something. What they said had no purpose in my life, right? But that's what I needed to hear. In order for me to grow, I needed to hear those things. So every time that there might be a failure in your way, you have to walk confidently and know your value and know your worth moving forward. Nothing can stop you. Nothing. If you can show gratitude and show up every day for yourself, when you rely on your 3 pillars or your 10 pillars, whatever you need, boo-boo, whatever you need, you do it for yourself. Because that's the most important. We need you. The world needs you. There is no one like you. No matter where you are, there is nothing more powerful than where you are right now. So manifest exactly what you want, but you can manifest all you want, but you have to be about it, okay? Like, know exactly who you are. Don't block your blessings. Be intentional and be resilient. Thank you so, so much. I'm sorry I went over a little bit. There we go.
Okay, hi,
And
I
if there-
see that you
if
have
there are-
two. I see that there are 2 questions. First one,
Okay.
How do you bring yourself up on a down day?
Okay, so I think the biggest thing for me is to know that there's going to be a lot more down days than there are good days, right? So for me, as I went through, even as an athlete, practice was a struggle, right? There were some meets that I just couldn't, I wasn't winning, I couldn't get over bars, and that can kind of have a negative impression on you, and it can leave a really negative impression on you. But the biggest thing is you have to find joy in the little things, right? So my consistency is every single day I do the rosary. I do a decade of the rosary every day. I write down 3 things. I do the 5-minute journal, which includes 3 things that I'm grateful for in that day, and I have my morning cup of coffee. I need to rely on those things, right? So there's always going to be down moments. Don't make it a down day. So when people wake up and you stub your toe, don't let that spiral out of control, and then you are angry, and then you're angry at your spouse or your children, and then you're upset, and then you spill your coffee. It's a chain reaction, right? So for me, start your day as positive and as self-loved as it possibly can be. And that's with the consistency of a routine, right? So for me, coffee is everything. I get so excited when I have the different seasons and I have my coffee and creamer, right? Like, my creamer is sacred. So I have the pumpkin spice right now, but now we're in December. So now I switch to the Christmas cookie. But like, you see how it doesn't have to be like I'm reading this manifestation and I'm doing all of this. It's just staying consistent with my daily routine. So it's my rosary, it's my 5-minute journal, it's my coffee. I also listen to the Positive Mindset podcast because I can tell when I'm in a state of negativity. I can tell that I'm like, right now, I'm very open and I'm very transparent. I am very broke. We are trying to rebuild a house right now, my husband and I, and our architect was 4 weeks late. I am on the go. I am moving around. I'm having family issues. There are so many things that are happening. But like I said, I can only control what I can control. And I want to control my mindset. So I can tell when I start to spiral. And the hardest thing is to be like, Priscilla, show gratitude. You are here for a reason. You are learning. Take a moment for yourself and be in those moments, whatever it needs to be, a morning coffee, your morning tea. If you listen to a positive podcast, follow somebody that brings you joy, do something that can get you out of the headspace that you can kind of turn it around. Because in those negative moments, you're looking through a lens of uh, not enough, of less than. You have to switch your focus and talk to yourself and get rid of that inner assassin and say, it's going to be okay. This is just a moment, right? Like, this is just a moment. I've got to switch it around. So being very honest with yourself and relying on things that will make you happy. And for me, it's coffee. And if you got to spend that $8 at Starbucks to make you happy, boo-boo, then do so. Like, if you need to throw on those new earrings, then do so. If you need to just throw on a pair of heels with your sweatpants, then do so. Do whatever to make you, if you want to go buy your new briefcase, go buy yourself a new briefcase. If you need to go have a date night with your spouse or your significant other, then do so. If you want to go swipe on Bumble, do something that's going to make you happy. Be a little selfish.
Is there a diet that can also help with your mood or being your best self, in your opinion?
100%, yes. So the biggest thing is I talk about nutrition, and it is a touchy subject because people love to find the next new fad, right? But for athletes, we are in a consistent nutrition plan. It's not a diet, it's a nutrition plan. So the biggest thing that I will say is eat, consistently eat. So I would eat 6 times a day, right? But have enjoy your meals. Do things that don't, I said this in one of my older presentations, it's a microwave versus the oven, right? Take time. If you have to wake up an extra 15 minutes a little bit earlier and make yourself eggs with like or a spinach frittata or something, when you pour love into that meal, it makes it a lot better. But when you throw in a hot pocket, you know what you're getting, right? But then there's also those rest days where you need to just relax. You just kind of want to sit on your couch and watch, whatever subscription, HBO, and eat your Chinese food, then do so. You have to have a better relationship with food. So for me, I would always start my breakfast with something. My breakfasts are always big because it fuels me for the day, and I get so wrapped up in work that I forget to eat. But meals in the US, I feel, especially at work, it's quick, it's fast, it's easy, right? But please take those times to really enjoy your meals and marvel at something. So when I make these little egg frittatas in a pan that usually make muffins in, and I pour the eggs in it, and I have like spinach and I have cheese and I have these things, and then I have my morning coffee with me, and if I want like a little piece of toast. But it just allows me to take that moment and say, breathe, Priscilla, this is your moment. So make sure that your nutrition is fueling you, right? Because everyone has different allergies. People are, they're allergic to gluten. So take that time. I go grocery shopping on Sundays. Take the time to really marvel with your food. Enjoy that relationship. You eat. It's a part of your life. So you might as well get the most out of it. But when you want those little cheat meals, have a cheat meal. Don't have cheat days. Have a cheat meal, right? Because if you consistently eat junk food, that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to start outputting a lot of junk. So athletes, we take care of our body. Find out what makes you feel good. Find out what fuels you. Find out what makes you, you can go to your doctor. have a great relationship with your nutritionist, you know, like go visit them 6 times a month and be like, hey, what's good right now? What's helpful? Do you want a green shake? Try it out. You know, just have a better relationship with it. And I can guarantee it'll grow and it'll make you a lot happier.
And finally, how can you be selfish and not lose yourself completely?
So the biggest thing, I'm thinking about this because I'm, you know, I'm obviously going to speak from the heart here. Being selfish comes in two folds, right? So selfish has a negative connotation. But when you are at your best self and you are happy and you are joyful and everything that you're putting out is empowerment and love, there is no negative that can come from it. I think what happens is when people say selfish, they're thinking like arrogant, and they're thinking that they only think of themselves. The reason why I'm selfish is because my purpose is to be the rising tide that's lifting other ships. So I'm focusing on myself to make sure that I'm healthy and happy so that when I'm approaching other people, I'm giving them my best self. So if you start to feel like you're losing yourself, then you're not aligning with things that are going to help you, right? So I want you to understand that selfish is pouring into your cup and into yourself things of prosperity and things of abundance and things of love. There's no negative when it comes to love. And when you're doing this so that you can be better for others, you really don't get lost, if that makes sense. And if whoever asked that question, you can always DM me and we could talk about this a little more. But I hope that answered it because I know I'm running out of time here.
Thank you, Priscilla. I think you answered everything. Do you have any last thoughts before we close out?
I thank you guys so much for your time. Please let me know if there's anything that I can do and to be a resource and to help you. Again, I did go to the Olympics, but I use everything that I learned, good and bad, in my everyday life with my relationships. And so I really just want you guys to understand how important you are and how valuable you are. And things are going to change and the tide will change. And, you know, the chapters of your life are going to change. But please make sure that you are really investing in yourself and loving yourself and showing yourself how much that you mean to the world, because we need you. We need your energy. We need exactly who you are. And you guys can always follow me on Instagram. That's where I'm the most active, Priscilla_Frederick. I want to be there for you. I do want to be a positive mentor. If you want your kids to talk to me, please have them reach out. I want to be an example and a role model. So anything that I can do to help, please let me know. Thank you again, Stacey. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining us today. And a special thank you again to Priscilla for such an inspiring presentation. For Priscilla's complete bio, please go to www.stjohns.edu/APD series. I hope you will join us next week, Thursday the 8th at 11 a.m., where we will continue to hear from Priscilla as she will discuss personal branding. In the meantime, have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Priscilla.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.